Hello again, everybody. This is Mark Wolowitz. I'm an American author living in Kansas City, Missouri, and I'm here again today with another audio excerpt from 4th and 32, a PC playbook for the perfect season. 4th and 32 is a speculative satire which I wrote to illustrate how the cancel culture active in today's America could potentially go about canceling all 32 NFL football team names and their logos or mascots. Today's excerpt is going to cover a team from the NFC East, the Dallas Cowboys. Before I get started, I'd like to invite you to subscribe to my channel, and if you like what you hear on this video or any of my other videos, be sure to hit the like button. Also, for those who stay to the very end of this video, you'll see a special offer on my first book, which is Bullet, Training an Accidental Shed Dog, which is basically the story of how I accidentally trained Bullet, my shed dog, to find shed deer antlers. And there's a Christmas special going on from today until Christmas Day on that. So let's get into canceling the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys, named after cowboys, just like Bull Girls, which will be appearing on birth certificates everywhere soon. My justification for cancellation of the Cowboys. Cowboys have been romanticized as rough and rowdy, hale and hearty, 5 o'clock shadow sportin' rootin' tutors who tamed the American West by slaughtering Indians by the tribe-load. If movies and television are to be believed, and they are, cowboys of Western lore are the most genocidal maniacs this side of Hitler to ever spit globs of tobacco juice onto the dusty surface of the earth. Cowboys. Talk about names that don't fit. Why are they even called cowboys? Because they killed Indians? No. They are known as cowboys because they worked cattle ranches for room and board, crunchy coffee, and poisonous leaden platefuls of baked friggin' beans. They wore brimmed hats to keep the sun out of their eyeballs, rode horses to keep pace with a stampeding herd of steak and ground chuck, carried sidearms and Winchesters to ward off mountain lions and cattle thieves, and adorned their necks with bandanas because, well, bandanas made them look cool, unlike the hair and glam metal bands of the 80s, who tied the fucking things on everything. The movies made cowboys into badasses who drank too much, cheated incessantly at poker, and won the American West. What they were, in the world in which rational people live, was modern-day truck drivers, delivering beef and other livestock, but mostly beef, to slaughterhouses. In other words, they were closer to a Schwann's guy than they were to soldiers, outlaws, marshals, and sheriffs. They filled a need for only a handful of years before the Iron Horse banished them to movie theater matinees and spaghetti westerns. The vilification of cowboys would not be the only way that Hollywood took liberties with the presentation of historical facts. There was a time, believe it or not, when films showed that illegal drug use was criminal and would lead those involved in such things to all manner of terrible consequences. This, while in real life, such activity could land you a roster spot on the Dallas Cowboys. They even had a player who called himself Hollywood, a name which contradicted the perception that the movies of the time conveyed. Tinseltown and the Cowboys' locker room have since switched sides, with the team apparently cleaning up its image while quirky films glorifying illicit drug use have become common. Westerns are rarely made anymore. They're just gone. We cannot have children being spurred to play cowboys and Indians after all, when more acceptable options for molding young imaginations like the Grand Theft Auto video game franchise exists. Despite the retirement of Clint Eastwood to the porch to yell at passerby, the Hollywood version of cowboy history and lore persists. Those genocidal vagrants are the ones wearing the saddle now, that of being the bane of any empathetic or sympathetic soul who's ever watched an episode of Bonanza. Bonanza, ironically set on a land-grabbing ranch named after its crosstown rival steakhouse, Ponderosa, was an all-American Western buffet of wholesome cowboy fun and adventure. Little did viewers know that the television show would someday be used as an unlikely springboard to cancel the team that NFL Films narrator John Facenda dubbed America's Team in 1978. Yet, here I am employing it as just that. To Bonanza's and other Western shows' detriment, no cowboy character on television or in the movies ever mentioned bovine flatulence. Once thought to be visionaries, scriptwriters completely ignored the fact that cattle farts would soon be melting polar ice caps by the dozens, sending tidal waves of rising ocean water inland to any place not currently occupied by the seaside mansions owned by more modern, more enlightened visionaries. This inconvenient truth has laid bare America's insatiable appetite for beef and humankind's impending doom, both instigated by the sole employers of those we would call cowboys, the cattle rancher. Even they, seeing financial opportunity on the political horizon, have come out against the keeping and the consumption of the very beef they keep and presumably consume, or at least make millions via our consumption of the stuff. Nothing beats a good steak, yet the modern cattlemen are championing the growing of meat-type substances in laboratories instead of allowing it to graze upon the grasses of their own humongous land holdings. We degenerate meat-eaters are left not only to wonder if this has anything to do with the Cowboys' name, but also what the hell they plan to do with all the fucking cows. This is quite the conundrum for which only two options present themselves as viable solutions. One is to do as my mother used to tell me about paint chips I peeled from the baseboards as a child, and that is to eat them till they're gone. The other, more pleasing though less palatable option would be to consider setting the herds free to wander and die of natural causes. This choice would result in the poor animals being simultaneously repatriated to nature, much to the delight of animal rights activists, and rendered extinct to sully the atmosphere no more, which eco-warriors would find acceptable. All of this bodes well for the overall health of the planet, because the net result would be cleaner air and polar ice caps on every street, not littered with putrefying cow carcasses. Even these would be swept away by earth-scouring glaciers in just an eon or two of global cooling, which would be inevitable since petri dishes do not pass gas. Yet another benefit will be the truckloads of slimy globs of gooey chemical proteins for the masses to shove down their stinking throats. Finally gone will be the days of using natural food as food, and everyone will be much happier, if not healthier, except, of course, for the cows. That's okay, however, because with no cows to tend, cowboys will be put out to pasture too. Once these things come to pass, do not expect a bovine exhibit to show up next to the woolly mammoth at your local natural history museum. Any history wrought with Americana cannot be allowed to be put on display where future folks might learn from it. Indeed, it should be erased, destroyed, or rewritten to ensure that everyone can focus on what they are told to focus on. Cowboys, and the Cowboys' name, must be made to share the same fate. If you still want football in Dallas, come up with a team name that will not offend the ears of any modern fan. This writer realizes that this may be difficult at a time when everyone is going out of their way to be offended, but these guys didn't even try. With total acceptance as the only criteria, perhaps the nickname Pokes should be considered as a replacement for them Cowboys. At first blush, Pokes might be mistaken as a nod toward cowpokes, as cowboys have also been known. That, too, would be unacceptable, and I would be writing a 33rd chapter calling it out. Luckily, the word pokes can also be interpreted as inappropriately sexual, which makes it appropriate in the here and now. To help with this, owners could easily hire any number of pop stars who currently collect millions of dollars from adoring fans for spewing disgusting shit into your 8-year-old sons and daughters' ears to record a theme song for the team about how great it is to be poked, with or without consent. By today's musical standards, not only would such a move reconfirm the team as America's, but the song would be Grammy-worthy, providing the franchise with their first trophy since 1996. The Dallas Cowboys logo. The Cowboys logo is a failed graphic representation of Texas' state nickname. Currently, it is a lone star that sits on one side of the helmet. Another star decorates the opposite side of the headgear, which defeats the first's symbolism. How can a star be lone if there exists another just the other side of all the empty space between the ear holes? If only there were a way to fold time and space and bring the right and left stars together. Thus far, however, folding the fabric of the universe and football helmets has proven to be as impossible as ending the perpetual ignorance of bickering over dumb shit, like the number of stars on a helmet. I recommend using stars that are easier to manipulate. Those are the stars of the music industry. Perhaps the Pokes could use decals that feature the faces and other body parts of the stars chosen to record the new team's theme song. So that wraps up the section on the Dallas Cowboys from 4th and 32, a PC playbook for the perfect season. Look for it on Amazon and other online book retailers around Thanksgiving, just in time for your holiday gift giving. Again, if you liked what you heard, be sure to hit the like button and please consider subscribing to my channel. I'd really appreciate it. You can also let me know what you thought of what you heard today in the comments below. And if there's a specific team that you would like to hear recorded on here, go ahead and post that in the comments below as well. Now stay tuned for the special offer from Amazon on Bullet, Training an Accidental Shed Dog. And as you look at that, I'd like to say thank you for watching this video and remind you to vaccinate yourself and your children against the cancel culture. We'll see you next time.